Yo, what up, Street Talks there, Kim? All right, the turbo thought. Perhaps individuality and originality and uniqueness is a little bit overrated. So this is the general gist is, I was kind of thinking, I'm like, why is it that in, the West or in America and so forth, individuality, uniqueness is so highly valued? And this is the general thought. I think the shift towards uniqueness and originality is kind of more of a materialistic consumerism thing where, by trying to differentiate ourselves, we buy a different X, Y, and Z to assert our wealth, our social status, and so forth. I think they're called Veblen goods, where you're essentially trying to buy certain goods to just kind of flex on how good your, how essentially fancy your things are, right? So, for example, if you roll up in a new Lambo, you're obviously saying something about your wealth and so forth. But ultimately, I think a lot of these individualism, originality, being different things are very, very superficial. So, for example, you buy Tesla because you want to be seen as cool, hip, and futuristic. And then there's superficial things like what color should you choose? Should you get the Model S, the Model 3, the Y, or the X? Or should you get a Porsche or a BMW, Mercedes, whatever have you? And same thing with our consumer goods, right? It's like, oh, should you get an iPhone, iPhone Max, iPhone Pro Max, Max Pro, Pro Pro? What color, and this and that. So all these things tend to be a lot of originality things tend to be kind of a little bit flat. So, what's more important than originality? I think what's more important than originality is just to pursue what you really care for. So, for example, like even if you think about Homer in the Iliad, he doesn't use any super innovative words and thoughts, and all the heroes are borrowed and whatnot. And so none of it is like quote quote like original in that common sense. But the reason why the Iliad is so great is that Homer employed strong, simple language to tell an epic story, and I almost feel like for us as artists, creators, writers, thinkers, and so forth, to have original thoughts or to have original ideas or original photos or original artworks or original anything, it's not that important. What's more important is the whatever we're sharing is authentic and distilled from our own experiences, because ultimately everything that we think, learn, share, create, it's kind of borrowed from somewhere. And I think this is where I really like the cross-pollination notion of like bees, where you're essentially trying to take a little bit of the each honey that you get from every single different type of flower and fruit, and you're trying to blend it into creating something a little bit more unique insofar much as it's a unique blend, right? And so even funny enough, like for us coffee snobs, right, is tends to be like, oh, single origin is the apex. But actually, if you talk to people who really, really know coffee, actually often the blends are superior because you're taking the best of each bean to bring out the best notes and the best flavors. And so I almost feel like this is the same thing with cultures, with ideas and stuff like that. The best blend of things is what makes it your own. And ultimately you're the author, you're the one who creates it, so it's going to be quote unquote unique insofar much as that. So I would suggest, in photography, arts and everything, you don't need to innovate in terms of the tools, the aesthetics and the compositions and whatnot. Try to innovate instead of maybe even innovation is a little bit overrated, because you're not innovating for the sake of innovating, even being original. You're always comparing yourself to others. Just do what you love. Just make photos that bring you joy. And for me, the impetus of sharing photos is that even if there's a 1% chance that my ideas, my videos, my vlogs, my pictures will inspire somebody else who, people who used to be in my shoes when I was starting off, it's all worth it to me. And the best way to share it is your own self-hosted blog, bluehost.com, install wordpress.org, start your own YouTube channel, whatever have you. I would encourage disabling comments, views, stats, and stuff like that. And what's more important is that you have the courage and the audacity to share undistilled thoughts, or distilled thoughts, but like when I say undistilled, I mean like raw thoughts, that you don't need to do multiple shots, you don't need to edit your thoughts, just straight stream of consciousness, turbo thought it, and maybe you could tweak the little Tim Tam, the what Buckminster Fuller said, I'm the Tim Tam, the little thing in the back of the boat. Even if you could change it 1 degree, eventually the whole ship will change total course. So just adjust the things a little bit, tiny bit, and maybe you could change the future.